It was nice to come on Thursday? No, it was on Monday that nobody came. It was on Monday. All right, I decided to cancel the class. You look familiar. Are you in this class? All right, so somebody remind me what we were talking about on Thursday, the other class. Automation. So we're talking about automation. We were talking about automation. Specifically, what we were talking about in automation. Were you here on Thursday?
Why should we use that versus hiring people?
All right, so we got to in class on Thursday. We worked through an exercise of considering the things we needed to consider in order to develop an automation system, right? Okay, so we were thinking it had 6 steps in our automation system, and it was taking a piece of raw stock material, moving it through a process to cut it out of the bar form into what do they call it? Pucks? What are they? Ingots? Billets. Cutting it into billets, and then each billet would get put through a series of forging steps to make what was looks like a compressor blade for a jet engine. We know that the company had orders for 20,000 parts a week out of that process. And that we determined it was possible to automate the system. Right? We came up with a set of criteria, a set of steps that we could use to go through and automate that procedure so that we could replace the operators with an automation system in this case. And what were the benefits of replacing the operators? So look at it as if I was the CEO of the manufacturing company. You guys are on the project team that has decided that you want to automate the system. So the first question was, can we automate the system? We form a project team. You guys have decided now that you want to automate the system, and you're going to present to me arguments that we should automate the system. So what are the things that you're going to have to point out to me as the CEO about whether or not we should automate the system? So you're going to prepare your presentation. You're going to prepare your talking points. We figured out on Thursday that yes, it is possible. So if it was impossible to automate the system, or if we couldn't figure out the possibility, if we didn't know how to do it, then we wouldn't be having this meeting. So now you've decided that it is possible, and you want to present arguments for doing it. What do you got?
If it's faster than how.
So we're going to consider the time. And so why do we necessarily care about if it's faster?
Because time is money.
So time is money.
And you want to meet the demand.
So our demand is, as far as we know at this point, fixed at 20,000 units a week. We're currently hitting 20,000 units a week, but sometimes we have to work overtime. So our manual process Based on that data point, based on what we know about it, we know that the manual process has variability in time. It doesn't always take the same amount of time to make 20,000 a week with our manual process. So what we get is, so do we want to make them faster than 20,000 parts a week? Do we want to make 20,000 parts in half a week? Say again? If we had some other use for that equipment, and we could make both parts in the same period of time, we might want to go faster. So that could certainly be a possibility. But if that's dedicated equipment, can only work for this process, and we know we can only sell 20,000 a week, then we only want to make 20,000 a week. We don't want to push ourselves to get faster than that. Now, by its nature, it may make 20,000 parts a mail in 3 days. It may then sit idle for those 2 days. We don't get any added benefits for sitting idle for those 2 days, unless we can make something else on there. But yeah, so it's faster, it's more consistent. All right, so you're going to make arguments to me that we can know how many parts we're going to make this week. It's going to be more consistent, and if it is faster, then if there's downtime, something goes wrong, we've got a chance to make up for it before the end of the week. So that's good. All right. What else are you going to present to me about the automation system as an argument to use an automation system versus thinking about current operations? So cost savings. How do we determine the cost savings? So if we're going to consider whether or not to use the automation system based on cost, what are the factors that we have to know to make a decision based on cost?
How much it's going to cost to install the automation system?
So cost. What else?
How much the current operation cost is?
Current cost of operation. And
After it's implemented, how much it costs them?
future cost of operation. So we could potentially make parts faster or with more consistent time, and that'll impact cost, right? So if we've got variable costs, if sometimes we have to work overtime in variable time, if sometimes we have to work overtime in our current operation, then getting this under control will help us with having a lower cost for the future operation. So, all right, so we're talking about cost to implement, cost of operation, future cost of current operation, cost of future operation. We've talked about the time and the consistency of our time. So that makes it easier for us to budget, right? We always know that we can make these parts at this time. We don't have as much variability, so that's nice. What else do we want to consider? What are you gonna bring to the boardroom when you meet with the CEO?
How many less employees?
So the number of employees is. So you said less employees.
Or more.
Or more employees. So that'll impact costs, right? So our future costs, if we automate this process, then perhaps the future cost goes down because we're using fewer employees to do that process. What else does the number of employees require? So what's going to change about the employees?
The skill level required.
So you may need a different skilled employee to operate, right? So we've got a number of employees, we've got training of the employees. But do we necessarily want to lay somebody off? What's the cost of laying somebody off because we automated the system?
Yeah, pay their severance package.
So you may have some initial costs of paying some sort of severance package. Pay some, what is that, like hush money?
Basically.
Do away with complaining too loudly? Right, but no, so you owe something to those employees, whether you tell them to go home today and never send them a check again, or you give them some severance package. And depending on if it's a union facility, it's probably prescribed in the contract what you're allowed to do and how you're allowed to lay them off. But even in a non-union facility, you may not want to just cut them and run, right? Lay them off and tell them to go home. So there's some cost of paying them something as they leave. Whether it's an extra 2 weeks pay, an extra 2 years pay, who knows what that's going to be. It's going to depend on their ability to negotiate with you, I suppose, at some level. But what's the other cost that goes into laying off an employee? Because a lot of companies want to automate so they get rid of staff. So that's a thing. People want to automate processes so that they can get rid of staff. Because the easiest way to make your bottom line go up is reduce salary. Companies like to make their bottom line go up because it helps their stock prices go up, keeps their investors, their shareholders happy. And it makes the bonuses for the executives go up too. More money left over at the end of the year. I'm not sure that's a good rationale for laying people off. But so it's a thing. People want to lay people off in order to save money. What's the cost of laying somebody off in order to save money? So they know stuff, right? So you lose their knowledge. Now, the most experienced employees are getting paid the highest salaries. You have the most cost. You have the most bottom line benefit initially by letting go of the most experienced people. But there's a significant cost when you do that. So very frequently, the other thing that people do to automate when they're automating is they're not automating to get rid of staff. They're automating to increase capacity. So I can get rid of my staff, or I can increase my capacity. What does increasing my capacity allow me to do? Increase revenue. Yeah, if I can increase my capacity, I increase the top line instead of worrying about the bottom line, right? So I can drive revenues by increasing the top line of my sales, then I don't have to lay people off. We can still make our profit go up. And I don't lose that knowledge that they had, that institutional knowledge that they had. So number of employees is important, but it's not always because we're trying to reduce the number of employees. In fact, if we're very smart about the way we're doing it, reducing the number of employees will not be the major selling factor for a lot of these smaller automation projects. Okay, so what else do I want to consider? I got more consistent time. We've got something to do with employees. We may end up over time transitioning to a higher quality of employee, either because we've invested in training the current employees to bring them up to that level, or we've on purpose hired higher quality employees that are more versatile and do more admin. So employees and employment is an important consideration when we're going to decide should we automate the process. Anything else we want to consider? So, will it impact quality? If our process is more consistent, intuitively we're going to have the feeling that the quality of the components is going to go up. At least the quality should be systematically impacted by adjustments in the process, right? So we should be losing some of the variability that's due to operator-to-operator inconsistencies and human errors, as we call those. So we could certainly improve quality. What does improving quality do for us? And I think more broadly, don't just think about making these compressor relations, aircraft engines, but what does improving quality do for us as manufacturers? So it'll reduce waste, so it'll cut costs. So we'll catch that in future operation costs. What else does it do for us?
Will make your services more desirable.
It could drive value, right? It won't necessarily drive value, but it could drive value. Yeah.
Saves rework time.
It saves time, so you reduce scrap. Reduce rework, and when we reduce rework, it does a couple things for us. It saves us cost, right? Because the rework has cost associated with it, but it also frees up capacity. So that person that was doing the rework is very likely to be one of your most skilled operators. You don't throw the new guy at fixing the broken parts. It usually takes the most skilled operators to fix the broken parts. So if you're not scrapping them, if you're reworking them, you've got one of the most skilled operators, the most skilled technicians doing that rework. So reducing rework is a good idea. What else? What else do we want to consider? So you've got to put together a presentation to sell me. I'm the CEO. You've got to say, what can I talk to the CEO about in order to get him convinced to do this automation project? Yeah, go ahead.
So I worked for a manufacturing company. The owner said with robots, they never complain and they never ask for information.
Yeah. Your company had robots, or just had the idea of robots?
No, they had a couple of them. They were starting to.
So, no. You know what else? When we decide not to use them anymore, they have scrap value, not severance packages. Right? Have scrap value. That may not be an important factor. But all right, so your boss, your supervisor at this company, he was in favor of automation.
Yes.
Highly in favor of automation. Was that what you were working on when you were there?
Oh yeah, I was helping.
You were helping with figuring out the automation.
Well, like saying they can make stuff.
All right, so you were doing an analysis like this then on different processes. What kind of stuff did the company make?
So they were making carbide melts.
They make carbide end melts. Okay. And so they wanted to be able to automatically load and unload machine tools? Or cryo machines?
Yep, that they had a bunch of them doing that. This was on the wash line because they're going to coating. So the wash line.
Okay.
And a robot to wash lines.
All right. And so what did you guys consider when you brought it in? What were the key factors that you looked at?
The main thing was where the bottleneck was, which is where that was. It was that.
All right, so you're looking at the whole process and figuring out where's the bottleneck in our process. You guys understand what the bottleneck is? So that's the funnel that's slowing down all of the throughput. It's dictating the takt time at the end of the line. Is that bottleneck? And so you were attacking that particular bottleneck, which was the washing process. And so you were mostly interested then at speed.
Yeah, well, yeah, speed and basically you had to move a basket like a whole bunch of times from different bins. So it's like a perfect job for a robot. You just pick it up and move it.
And so before that, who was doing it? Some guy named Joe?
Yeah.
And so what are the problems with having Joe move a basket all day long?
Joe wasn't.
So Joe was bored for sure, right? It's hard to do a good job when you're bored, right? If I'm teaching a lecture and you guys are all just sitting there not paying attention, not interacting with me, I get bored. I mean, you might be doing that because you were bored. But if I get bored, then it's hard for me to do a good job. It's really a pain when you're bored and you're standing in front of the class. Can we let you know that? So Joe's bored. Joe doesn't do a good job. He's not consistent because he's bored, right? Maybe at the beginning of the day, maybe not Monday morning, maybe the beginning of the day, Tuesday morning, Joe's doing all right. By lunchtime, Joe's talking to somebody, and that's how to do this, right? So, all right, so we've got the Joe's board problem. What else is the problem with having Joe do that process? Who's ever done a process like this all day long? You had something?
It's just like the repeated motion.
Repeated motion, especially of this kind of type of motion, tends to be bad for us physically. And so there's all kinds of things like carpal tunnel syndrome and things like that. I worked on an automation system that was part of a injection molding. Do we talk about injection molded spoons in this class? So it's a company made injection molded plastic flatware. And so there's a tree with a bunch of spoons on it, or forks or knives or whatever it happened to be. They came out of the injection molding system. And they would stack them up in a stack of like 10. And then everybody that worked there was Vietnamese. What's a good woman's Vietnamese name? Anyway, Sally. It wasn't Vietnamese women that were doing this. I remember going to the facility, right? But they would have them stacked up in like piles of 10. They would do this, drop them in the box, drop them in the box, drop them in the box. Let me tell you, there was a lot of workman's comp claims for carpal tunnel syndrome from this motion, drop in the box. And so they wanted to automate that degating process to get rid of that. So there's health and safety issues. And so our robotic system, and I guess you catch that at some level in the future cost of operation, right? Because you're amortizing into all those parts the cost of your workman's comp insurance policy. And when you have lots of workman's comp insurance claims, especially for the same thing, the cost of that policy skyrockets, so your costs go way up. But just in general, we don't want to be jerks, right? So we don't want to be putting our employees in hazardous situations, whether it's because we're going to go in and shut down the nuclear reactor manually, or because we're going to do a repeated action that's not good for our employees. So we want to be conscious of the health and safety issues. What's the other problem when you have a process that has a poor health and safety? Track record. We have a poor health and safety track record. How else does that impact the company? Besides the cost of insurance and all those things. You're going to have a hard time hiring employees because the word's going to get out. Right? People are going to know that it's a bad place to work because of those things. So, and what do we want to hire in our companies? Good employees, right? We want to hire the highest quality employee that we can get. And so it's going to be hard to do that if we have a poor health and safety record like that. Okay, so I'm the CEO. We've talked about the fact that we can be more consistent. We understand the cost of implementation, the cost of current operation, the future operation costs. We understand the impact on our employees. This is really good. Most of you know she's saying it. This impact on our employees. Anything else you want to talk to me as the CEO about as you're selling me this project? What do CEOs think about? This could be your job. This could be your job next year, right? It has been your job, right? I mean, you had a close relationship with the decision maker in doing this, but say you're a consultant, you get hired as a consultant to come in and help this company make the decision. So ultimately, who makes the decision?
The CEO.
Somebody that's in charge position, right? So the CEO, it may be if it's expensive enough, it may be the board of directors, right? You may have to have a board meeting to make this decision, to make that investment. But so ultimately, it's going to be the person sitting in that chair that's going to make that decision. What do those kind of people care about? What do they think about? So we care about money, right? Why do we care about money? We got both payments to make, right? All right, so you got to think about the person that you're talking to and presenting to. So they care about money. What else do we care about?
Hopefully the company morale or are the employers happy?
So we might care about the morale, company morale. There's a saying about faculty. They say faculty morale is always at an all-time low. Because faculty like to complain about stuff. Because we can. Nobody tells you quiet. So morale.
Maybe like
Future growth.
Product quality.
So we care about quality. Why do we care about quality besides cost?
I can't imagine it's fun being CEO of a company that makes crap.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't be fun for me, but I'm sure it's fun for somebody. So we care about quality, but the quality, what that does for us is it impacts the future growth potential for the company. It impacts longevity of the company. So quality, not shipping crap to our customers today, that's important because they won't pay for crap, right? But having a reputation of not shipping crap, that's important for attracting new customers, getting long-term customer satisfaction. So we care about it more than just the parts for today. We care about it moving into the future. What else do if I'm thinking about things like future growth, if I'm thinking about these things like future growth and long-term customer satisfaction and quality moving forward, what else am I thinking about? What else should I be thinking about? I care, so let's just assume that this is a privately held company. So I don't care about this quarter's earnings. If it was a publicly traded company, I would care about this quarter's earnings because it's going to drive the stock price, right? So let's think I'm actually thinking about the company and not this month's stock price, this quarter's stock price. I care about my ability for future growth. And so adding capacity by moving faster gives us future growth. What else? I care about quality because I want a long-term good relationship with my customers. If I'm going to have that long-term future growth, long-term quality, I got to have and I got to attract. It's probably one T in attract.
No, that's right.
Right? Attract. Oh, that's attract. Why? I want to attract high quality employees. And so if we walk into our forging space, let's get back to forging. What do you think that looks like coming in off the street with the manual operation that they've been doing since 1967? And eventually they've been building those jet engines since 1967. Has anybody ever been to a forging facility? What do they look like walking in off the street? Fire, brimstone, noise, heat, dirty, right? And so, especially with an older manual process, where we're using our heavy mittens and our tongs to move that billet from the furnace over to the forge, put it in the forge and hit the button, right? So when you're Joe, just getting out of school, and you go for a job interview at this company, are you going to be excited to work there if you were the top of your class? I don't even care. If you graduated, are you going to be excited to, if you dropped out of school, are you going to be excited to work there when you go and see that facility? No. So, I guess it's exciting for me, but sad as it is, the G-Wins factor is important. Right? So, and the G-Wins factor is important for recruiting high-quality incoming new talent. And it's also important for investors, for banks, things like this. If you don't appear to be growing, if you're not making capital investments in the company, then who's going to believe that you have a future? Even if maybe that process was perfect and didn't need any changes. There still may be an inclination to change it just because you want to be making that capital investment in the company and those things. All right, so we've talked about factors that go into this. And so a lot of these factors over here are sort of intrinsic things that I'm going to have to use in my mind as I'm the CEO and I'm making this decision, this business decision that we're making. But how do we do the cost analysis? Because the first thing is, I don't care if I'm the CEO or not, if I can't satisfy the need counters, if I can't satisfy the accountants, then we're not going to buy the project. So the first thing we're going to do is be able to satisfy the accountants. And so we said, what were the things that we said were important to us, the cost to implement? So the cost to implement, and that's going to include things like, do we have to shut down in order to set it up, and all that. So that's built into that cost. Current operations. Future operating costs. And those are really the prime factors, right? If we drive quality way up, and because of that, our customers are now willing to pay more for the parts that we're making, then we may have to look at the value also. And we may have to, instead of looking just at costs, we may want to look at profit or profit rate. So profit rate is the speed at which we make a profit, which is kind of a cool thing, especially if it's got a positive factor. But these are the primary things, right? Is there any cost thing that we've missed here? Cost to implement it, cost to operate now, so the cost of not, basically that's the cost of not implementing it, right? We've got the cost of implementing it, which is these two things, and the cost of not operating is this one. So what do we do now?
And find your break-even point.
Yeah, we're engineers, right? We'll make a graph. Your CEO is probably an engineer. I suppose it could be an accountant. Oh, but no, accountants understand math. Never mind. We can still sell the accountant. All right, so if this is time, this is cost. So starting at time 0 today, and cost 0, we'll say, we're going to have cost of operation. Okay, so the cumulative cost over that time assuming that we don't, and I guess we had some inconsistencies, right? So this might do this. In fact, it probably does that a little bit. But, so we've got a current cost of operation, and we can extrapolate that over time, assuming we don't lose any of those orders. What's our current, so if our future costs, so this current, future, if that's the graph, what do we do? We go home, right? we pack up our bags and we go home, take our ball and put it in the field. All right, so that's not it. That's future number one. So future number two, if that's it, what do we know?
Do it now. Real good.
Do it now, right? Because we got a lower slope on cost, presumably value stayed the same, so profit's going to go up over that time. Except this graph doesn't include cost to implement. So we take that same slope, offset it by the cost to implement, which is here, and we find the time that those cross. Right, so that's our future break-even point. That's where we start making money by having made this investment. So that number's 25. What do we do? First we ask the units, right? Right, 25 minutes, go for it. Right? 25 days, go for it. 25 months. So it's 25 months, that's like 2 years, right? 2 years? It's going to depend on the scale now, right? So we get to like 25 months, we're thinking, all right, now we got something to think about. Now we got to think about all those other things like how are the employees going to react? Are they going to be happy? Are they going to be sad? Can we get better employees? Can we potentially increase our throughput because we've done this? Now maybe we go get a new customer. If we half the time double the throughput, maybe we can supply 2 jet aircraft manufacturers instead of just 1. Wouldn't that be cool? Twice as many parts, right? So now we're talking. So at this point, it becomes a business decision. And the people in charge of making those kind of business decisions have to decide, is it worth it for us to do this? I don't want to point that out on this. All right, so we go, and it can become a very, very easy business decision. How is it possible for us to ignore the cost of implement? You could pass the cost on to your customer by charging higher rates. And if we were an electric utility, we would do that. But I'm not sure. So yeah, we could simply increase the price of the thing we're selling, and so we could make up for it. That wasn't the one I was thinking of. They got a loan. Yeah, what if we borrow the money? We in industry we tend to finance a lot of these things. So if we borrow the money, what does it do to our slope? It's gonna make our slope go up because now we have to service the debt, right? But if that's where our slope goes, do we implement? No brainer, right? We may have to offset that up a little bit, because you can get it to that 25 days to make it back by financing the purchase of the capital equipment. The other thing that we get with capital equipment is it makes our taxes go down. So we get to depreciate the value of that capital equipment over a certain number of years, the expected life of the equipment. And so it makes our tax liability go down. So there's a lot of reasons why it's good for companies to invest in new capital equipment. You get the G-Wiz factor, you get the better employees to come in, you get better consistency. You guys remember all these points, right? So when you go to sell your first automation system, you'll be able to do it. All right, lab this week. Anybody else have anything else you want to talk about on this topic? This is like the most fun topic in the whole classroom. Well, because I want to be the CEO, so I tend to be the CEO. All right, so lab this week. You guys have gotten the chance. Who's gotten started on their the programming thing, right? Programming automation thing. You guys have gotten started. What's your general feel so far?
We went through the tutorial.
All right, so you went through the first tutorial, but it seems doable now?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody who has not yet looked at the programming stuff? What you did, let's say.
I'm like, where do you find the stuff out?
Oh, go to the free help API and table of contents and step through the lessons. There's some other written material that's supposed to teach you how to do this stuff, and we figured out that the stuff that's in the help file is the best. So it turns out that they have a really good help system, and they put the good stuff in the help file as opposed to like hiding it in the custom server form. So we're going to continue working on that. That's due at the end of the term. We've got one more in-class lab assignment that just started this week. Anybody started that yet? No, nobody has lab scheduled for this class on Monday. Okay. And so in that lab assignment, you're going to go through an exercise where you learn to program programmable logic controllers. There's a series of we have a PLC emulator and a factory emulator that work together. So all the computers in 105, so if you go through the machine shop all the way to the back, that room in the back is 105, all of the computers have that PLC emulator software on it. And I believe Dave has posted the instructions for the steps he wants to go through with us. So you should finish that by the end of the week. That's the last in-lab assignment. Is that correct? That's what I remember. And so the only thing that's left after that is to do the automation programming. The sooner you get that done, the sooner you're done. Yeah.
Do we have this all in model?
You should have the solid model for the project, but I'll verify that. I have the solid model for the project, so I know it exists. All right, I'll make sure they get that posted. Excellent. So I should quiz the people that don't normally come to class and ask them why it's all the time. Make it really stand up and talk to the camera. We want to do that. We can end 5 minutes early today. Or I can just keep talking. I like to talk. All right. Unless anybody else has something, let us call it a day. Thank you very much.